Hi students, today we are having the class on normal distribution and standard error. Before going to the class, I will just mention how we will get a normal distribution. With reference to the class of presentation of data, there we have mentioned that when we get a raw data, when we collect a raw data, the first step is we want to tabulate it, we want to categorize it, summarize it. Understood. So the first step is we want to form a table there. And the table that is there we are forming is what we call as frequency distribution table. The class intervals, we will categorize each data into various classes and assign the corresponding frequencies to each class. That is why the frequency distribution table comprises of class intervals, tally mark and frequency. Once the frequency distribution is constructed, the pictorial representation of the frequency distribution table is what we call as histogram. And you remember there what we have done by when we draw a histogram is we will draw the class intervals along the x-axis and the frequencies along the y-axis. And once the histogram is drawn, the midpoints of this histogram blocks are joined with a smooth freehand curve, and that curve is what we call as frequency curve. If a distribution is normal, we tell that frequency curve will be a bell-shaped curve. And this is how we will draw a normal curve. And that curve is what we call as normal curve. So that is what you mean by a normal distribution. So the symmetrical clustering of values around a central location is what we call as normal distribution. And the bell-shaped curve that results when a normal distribution is graphed is what we call as normal curve. And if the distribution is normal, the mean and the standard deviation of the distribution explains it completely. Understood? So, if the distribution is normal, the first step is the frequency curve is a bell-shaped curve, and that we call that curve as a normal curve. And it will be symmetrical also. Symmetrical means what? When we divide that curve into two halves, both the halves will be same. That's what we mean by symmetrical. The mean, median and mode of the normal distribution will always be same. Then the next property is that about 68% of the observations of individual observations fall within mean plus or minus one standard deviation. What do you mean by that? If I want to calculate the average height of students of 2017 batch, which is not there in front of me at present, but you are there. So by convenient sampling, I have selected students of 2017 batch of this particular class. So I got the number of students as say 25 students are there out of 100. I calculated each of your height, calculated the average value. So average height I got from this 25 students is say 1.61 meter. Standard deviation also I calculated. Now from which population I have selected you? From the whole students of 2017 batch. Now what I can tell, if this, and I found that the distribution is following a normal distribution, that means distribution of the age of the students of this particular class of 2017 batch is following a normal distribution. If it is normal, the next step we can tell is that 68% of individual observations, that means if I have selected that 100 students, 68 students will be having their height within the range of mean minus standard deviation, comma mean plus standard deviation. 95 students out of this 100 will be having their height within the range of mean minus 2 standard deviation, comma mean plus 2 standard deviation. 99 students out of this 100 will be having their height in the range of mean minus 3 standard deviation, mean plus 3 standard deviation. So this is the information which we will get if this distribution is following a normal distribution, which itself is a very great information which we are having, and this limit is what we call as confidence limit. And when we say this, we mean that 95% of the area of the normal curve and hence 95% of the values in the distribution will be included between this limit of 95 means what, which limit it is included, mean plus or minus 2 standard deviation. Understood? So only we have selected 25 students, but we are predicting about the height of all students of this 2017 batch. 95 students we can predict, 99 students we can predict. Understood? Yeah, of course it is not an exact value, but at least we can tell that they are within this particular range. So that is the peculiarity of this normal distribution. So which are the properties of a normal distribution? Normal distribution is a symmetrical curve, it's a bell-shaped curve. Mean, median and mode coincides, and of course 68% of the observations will be in the range of mean plus or minus standard deviation, 95% in the range of mean plus or minus 2 standard deviation, 99% within the range of mean plus or minus 3 standard deviation. And this is how the normal distribution, normal curve looks like. It explains the confidence limit also. Now, what is the importance of a standard normal distribution? By knowing the mean and the standard deviation, we can have infinite number of normal curves. But we need to standardize it. So, as we were mentioning in the previous example, the height of the students, if we are naming it as a variable x, so that x is following a normal distribution with mean mu and standard deviation sigma. That is a notation. So, x is having a normal distribution with mean mu and standard deviation sigma. So the mean specifies the location where it is, and standard deviation specified the scatterness, the scatterness of the data, how the data is spread. That was mentioned in the class of descriptive statistics. That's the use of mean and standard deviation. So if it is like that, for different values of mean or standard deviation, or maybe of both, we get different normal distributions. But we need to standardize it. How we have standardized? Changing the variable x to another variable called z. How we have changed? Using the transformation z is equal to x minus mean divided by standard deviation. X means each of that observation. So observation minus mean divided by standard deviation. We have transformed the variable x to another variable called z. So hence every normal distribution can be standardized in terms of a quantity called normal deviate, and this z is what we call as normal deviate or relative deviate. It's named like that. So now what we will tell, this z is following not as normal distribution but following a standard normal distribution. There will be one and only one standard normal distribution. So z follows a normal standard normal distribution with mean 0 and standard deviation 1. Now there is another concept where we are having standard error. So far in the sampling technique also, what we have done is that we are having one population. From that we have selected one sample. Of course, in your assignment you have selected 2 samples. So imagine that from a single population we are selecting repeated number of samples. Like this, I will show you here. So from same population we are selecting a repeated number of samples. All these red shaped circles are samples which we are selecting from the same population. If we are having a method, or if we are doing like that, what it means? It means that from same population we are selecting say or 10 or k number of samples of same size from the same population, like what you have done in your assignments. So imagine that all of you have selected the sampling technique by using simple random sampling technique and systematic random sampling technique. You have selected number of samples. Like that, instead of 2 you are selecting k number of samples or 10 number of samples from the same population with same size. Now what we are doing, in that samples we are calculating its sample mean, like what you have done in the sample, the mean age of the samples you have selected from the selected samples. So like that, imagine that all these are mean ages of this particular, of samples of this particular population. All are sample means. So from each, for each sample you have selected, you have calculated the mean value, mean age we are calculating. For each samples you will be having mean ages, isn't it? If you are constructing a frequency distribution table with this sample means, we can tell that frequency distribution table will always follow a normal distribution whose mean is same as that of the population mean mu. Here the population mean is mu. And standard deviation of that sample means is what we call as standard error. So that is the concept of standard error here. So that is what it is mentioned here, that take many samples of same size from the population. Construct a frequency distribution table of all the sample means. We are calculating the means for each samples and we are constructing a frequency distribution table of that sample means. The distribution of the sample means is following a normal distribution. Mean of this means is same as that of the population mean, and the standard deviation of this means is what we call as standard error. So that is why the standard error of the mean is represented by using the formula. Here you can see at the right top end, we can see sigma divided by square root of n. Sigma is what? The standard deviation divided by square root of n. That's the formula. Like that, we are having different types of standard error. 4 types of standard error you want to study. The first one is what we call as standard error of mean. What's the formula for calculating the standard error of mean? Standard deviation divided by square root of n. And the 95% confidence limit also we can find mean plus or minus 2 standard error. And this next, if we want to compare the values, compare the population, one population with another population, say like we want to compare the height of the students of 2017 batch with 2016 batch, then there are 2 populations. We will be having 2 averages, 2 standard deviation. The mean and standard deviation of 2017 batch will be there. The mean and standard deviation of 2016 batch will be there. With the help of that, we will calculate standard error of difference between these 2 means. Is there any difference in the height, or which batch is taller? Is it 2017 batch or 2016 batch? So if you want to find like that, the standard error of difference between 2 means need to be found first. That means what's the formula? Standard deviation, square root of standard deviation square divided by n1 plus standard deviation square divided by n2. Standard deviation of the first sample and standard deviation of the second sample. And where n1 and n2 are the sample sizes of first and second sample. So these are the formulae which you want to study by heart, and you want to do the problems when you come for the practical portion that we will do when you come for your postings. And the next, third error is what we call a standard error of proportion, where the formula is square root of PQ divided by N, where P is the prevalence, Q is 100 minus P, and N is the sample size. And the next is, that is not included here, the standard error of difference between 2 proportions, where the formula is square root of P1Q1 divided by N1 plus P2Q2 divided by N2. So these are the, why this standard error is so important to you. When we do any research or when we do any sampling technique, we were mentioning in that class that we want to generalize the result of that sample to that of the population. Now when we generalize the result from sample to population, we need the help of statistics. We need to test whether this generalization can happen or not. Whether the p-value, there is one value called significance value, p-value is there, whether that value is less than 0.05. In order to reach that value, p-value, we need to do some calculations. We need to have some value called test statistic. For calculating this test statistic, the denominator is what we call as standard error. There we need to calculate the standard error based on the population. If there is mean, we will calculate standard error of mean. If there is proportion, we know only out of 100 students, only 20% of the students are myopic. That means the P value, P is there, prevalence value is 20% there. Understood? So that square root of PQ in this formula, P is 20%. Q is 100 minus 20. N is the sample size, 100. So, based on the measure that is given, if it is mean, we will calculate standard error of mean. If it is proportion, we will calculate standard error of proportion. If there are only one population. If there are two populations, we want to compare the means, we want to compare the proportions, then we will have standard error of mean and we will have standard error of proportion. Standard error of mean, we will have the formula like this, square root of sigma 1 square divided by n1 plus sigma 2 square divided by n2. Here one mistake is there in the second one, standard deviation 2 square is there. So using this formula, we will compare whether there exists any difference in their means. So in that test statistic, the denominator is always the standard error. So that's the importance of standard error in research. That means we need to calculate the standard error in order to generalize the result of the sample to that of the population. And with the help of this, we will do that. So this is what the concept of standard error and normal distribution is. I will give you the assignment, and I am very happy to tell that all of you have done your assignment very genuinely, and I compared all of your simple random sample and systematic random sampling also. You have done a very good job. Thank you. This assignment also, hope that you will do like that. That is today's class. Thank you.